Hey everybody, Freddy here with another video. Today we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna combine a few Azure services and we're gonna create our own global distributed file systems. We're gonna combine Azure Files, Azure File Sync, Traffic Manager, and we're gonna combine everything in one place to make our own global distributed file system. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And as always, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna define what a global distributed file system is. So the first thing is, let's go ahead and talk about it. A global distributed file system is a network file system that allows multiple users and applications across different geographical locations to access and manipulate files. And data, of course, as if they were located on the local disk drive. So this is what a distributed file system, and the key here is that it says in different geographical locations. So we're going to be using Azure regions to be able to accomplish this. So what does it mean to be a global distributed file system? Global means that it has a wide reach. So it spans across different geographical regions, pretty much access from around the world. It gives you consistent access, which means that users can access the file system from any location, ensuring consistency in data access and manipulation. What does it mean to be distributed? It means that it's in multiple locations, that it gives you load balancing, it gives you fault tolerance. And you might be thinking, well, come on, Freddy, this is already done. If you're looking at Azure Files, most of it is already done. And the answer is yes, that is true. However, when you look at the Azure Files is part of a Azure Storage. And an Azure Storage, like in my case here, it's in a region. In this case, I have West US 3, as you see it here. So anything that I create inside of this storage account, like a file share, for example, will be in that region as well. So does it mean that my file share is distributed across multiple geographical locations? No. It means that if I create it in West US 3, the share is going to be faster for users that are in West US 3, but not as fast for users that are in London, for example. Okay, so how do we fix that? Or how do we improve that? The way we're going to do it is we're going to have two locations. In this example, we're going to have New York and London. We're going to have New York users. We're going to have London users. So we're going to have an Azure tenant. We are going to create an Azure Files, a file share, and we're going to use Azure File Sync to keep the two locations synchronized. What else are we going to do is we are going to create, of course, the regular Azure VNets. We have two VNets. We have two subnets. We are going to have two Windows servers, one in London in a subnet or a VNet in London, another one in a VNet in New York. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Azure File Sync to keep the shares synchronized to Azure Files. And what that's going to do is going to give us the capability to be able to be in two different regions. Then what are we going to do after that? We're going to introduce Traffic Manager. Traffic Manager is going to be the one that is going to be deciding which region the user is going to go to. So we're going to create a traffic profile, a Traffic Manager profile that says if a user is in London, send them to the London, or if the user is in Europe, send the user to the London server. If the user is in the US or in New York, then that user is going to go to the New York or the US East region, whatever you set it up. I'm just setting it up as an example here. So this is pretty much how we're going to do it. The reason we're doing it this way is because the Windows server is going to have a share. So if you have a VDI, for example, an Azure virtual desktop in this region here, that virtual desktop will have access, very fast access to the share because it's in the same region. You can put it in the same availability zone, so it's very, very fast, and the data is going to be very quickly. That Windows is going to synchronize the data to the Azure Files, and that's going to keep pretty much everything synchronized at that point. So everything is going to be synchronizing, And how you control the access. I'm not going to go into the access details because otherwise this video is going to be very long. So I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. But the way that you would control access to this is you can make all this part of an Active Directory infrastructure that is running in Azure. So now you control all the excuse me, now you control all the NTFS permissions using an Active Directory infrastructure. So if you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments down below. If I made a mistake or if something doesn't look right, please let me know. It's always a great idea to learn from each other. So now that we have the image here, now that we have the diagram, the architectural design, then we can get into the portal and we can start creating this. Again, this is one way that you can set up this. Can you do more regions? Of course, you can set up an India region, for example, and another region in different areas. So this is just an example with 2 regions, but this can be expanded to way many other regions as well. All right, let's get into the demo. The first things first, let's look at a storage account. I created a storage account called Global Storage FMD, which is just a regular storage v2. It's in the East US region. When I go into this, I have a file share that I call distributed. Okay, now I have, excuse me, I have 2 virtual machines, one called London VM, which is in the UK South region, and I have one in the East US VM that is in the East US region. And they're both Windows servers. And what I did is I installed the Azure File Sync agent on both of them. Okay, like I said, the only thing I did is I downloaded the Storage Sync agent and I installed it, so it's already installed. I created a folder on the local C drive called public share. This public share is the one that I would be sharing with my users. I'm going to go into advanced sharing, share this folder, public share. So I just share this this folder. So my local users will be able to access this public share, and this public share is the one that is going to be synchronizing with Azure Files. I did the same thing on both machines, and I called it the same. I just call it like this for simplicity, just so that I can keep the same name consistent on both servers, and my users would be able to access this folder here. I added a couple files. Again, this is the London VM, and we'll be adding more files for testing purposes. I created this sync test that I created here. Right now, my 2 servers are registered: London VM, East VM. They register when you install the agent. You are asked to log in and select the storage account, and pretty much that's all. You have your servers, they are registered, and they're ready. Now what you need to do is you go to sync groups and you create a sync group. I'm going to call it distributed FS sync. Subscription, select the storage account. Global storage account is fine, and the Azure Files distributed. So again, you're just selecting the storage account and the file share where everything is going to connect into. Okay, create. Once the sync group is created, there's one more step that we need to do, and that is add a server endpoint. So the synchronization is not taking place at the moment because the sync group doesn't have endpoints. So let's go ahead and create one. Register server, of course, you have to make sure that the server is registered, as I showed you a little bit ago. And then we're going to go ahead and select the London VM, and we are going to say C: public share. And then it says files from this server has been brought by Databox. So in this case, no. We are not going to do any cloud tiering at this point. And if you haven't watched the other video as far as the explanation of cloud tiering, I would suggest you do that. There's another video on Azure Sync. So the initial sync, it says merge the contents on this path with the contents in the share. So let's go ahead and just leave it at that. Merge is fine. Initial downloads, download the namespace first, which means only download the metadata, don't load the whole entire file. But as soon as you start getting the list of files, you're going to be able to see them in both locations. So I'm going to just say create here, and then I'm going to add another one. So, and this is going to be for the East US, and I call the share the same, so the path is exactly the same, public share. And just for so create. In the meantime, it says that is pending and waiting for initial upload to start. Let's go ahead and log into the machines and see what's going on. I'm gonna log into this one first. So this one has this file called "This is a test." Let's look at the other one. And here is this file. This is a test. So now the synchronization seems to be working okay. Let me close this Windows here. Okay. So now I have the communication between the two servers. Again, the synchronization between the two servers seems to be working okay. Let's go ahead and create one in the 20, which I believe is London. Let's go ahead and create a new file. And the file is already here. This is the file from London. This is in the New York system. So the synchronization is taking place at the moment. All of this seems to be working fine. So now, right now, this portion is done. The synchronization between New York and London. The files are getting replicated. Now what I need to do is I need to add Traffic Manager to be able to allow the users to connect to one namespace and be able to be redirected to the closest one to them. All right, so let's go into Traffic Manager. We are going to create a new profile, so click on Create and give it a name. We are going to call it File System, for lack of a better name. Or you can call it whatever you want. The routing method, again, performance is the type of routing that is going to allow the Traffic Manager to select the one that has the best performance. So it's going to have endpoints in the back. So the way that it's going to choose which one to send the request to is going to be based on performance. We could choose that because we want the fastest performance. But we're going to choose the geographic better. The weighted is you can put a weight on different endpoints. Priority is you can select one that has the highest priority and then you select the other ones that have less priority. We're going to select geographic, which means is a geolocation. So it'll send the request to the closest endpoint. Multi-value is when you can have multiple of these. And then subnets, you can send it to a subnet. So we're going to choose geographic, the subscription. We're going to select the same resource group. And then the resource location West US is fine. So let's go ahead and create that. Let's go to resource. So this is the Traffic Manager profile that we just created. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to click on endpoints. These are the endpoints, the backend endpoints. So we are going to click add is going to be an Azure endpoint. The other options are external endpoint and nested endpoint. This one is Azure because our VMs are running in Azure. So I'm going to call it file system test. Target is public IP address. And choose the public IP address. One of the things that I did not mention here is the this traffic manager endpoint, the IP address. You can see here that says that one of them cannot be associated with traffic manager endpoint. The reason, if you notice, this is a VNG FMD IP. The reason it might show you that it's not associated, or it cannot be associated with traffic manager, is because the IP address does not have a DNS record. If the IP address doesn't have a DNS record, what you need to do is you need to go inside of that IP address and enable DNS. And once you enable DNS on that IP address, then you will be able to see it here. Traffic manager requires the IP address to have a DNS entry. So in this case, I'm going to choose London, and geo mapping, you may choose to distribute traffic based on geographic locations. The London is going to be Europe. Add another endpoint. I should have called it London file system test NYC. This is going to be public IP address and East US, and it's going to service North America. And then I will enable health check. So click add. And we are done. All right, so let's go back to Traffic Manager. I have a Traffic Manager profile, and I have two backend systems. So this is the DNS name that I can use for this share. So how do I use it? Well, let's test it out. Okay, now that everything is synchronizing, what we're going to do is we're going to do a test. We're going to go into the virtual machines that I created. I created one in Australia. There's Australia VM, which is running in the Australia East region, and I have a West US VM, which is running in West US 3. So let's go ahead and go into those. This is the one in West US, and this is the one in Australia. So if I go here and I run the command, just a regular command that I would run, this is the IP address. The 246 IP address is the London VM. So if I click on that, okay, and I'm able to see the public share on that one. So that's the one for London. If I run the same command for the one in East US, I'm able to see the public share as well. Two IP addresses, same public share. All right, so now this is Australia. If I do the same thing from here, I should be able to get the same results. Here is the East US. So we're going to go into the traffic manager. This traffic manager that we created, this one has a DNS name. So let's go ahead and use that. I'm going to go to the one in California, and I'm going to be doing the same thing, but instead of using the IP address, I will be using the name. And there is the public share. Okay, so how will I know which one I'm getting to? I'm going to open up this command here, and I'm going to ping the name. So from here, I'm getting to the 40.121 IP address, which happens to be the East US system. I'm going to be doing the same thing from here. And instead of the IP address, I will use the name. Here's my Australia. If I ping the host, it's connecting me to the 2246, which is the London system. And there is the public share. So what I can do is I can just map a network drive to this. I can drive the drive letter Z, for example. And now I'm able to access all the files. And I'm accessing the London system because going all the way across the ocean to the West US would take too long. So there you go. This is how you can set that up and combining it with Traffic Manager. And that is all, my friends. That's pretty much all it takes to create a global distributed file system using a combination of Traffic Manager, Azure Files, Azure File Sync, different systems in different locations, different VMs that will do the actual connection into that share. And I tested it using that VPN connection. As you can see, it resolves to the right IP address. As far as the connection, is just a 445 connection that I did. I know there might be a lot of questions that may come up as far as, well, you know, do you really want to open 445 out to the internet? I would say security, yes, is a big priority. And if you want to set it up as a private endpoint, you can do that as well. So you can require the users to VPN in, and then you can set it up so that the share works the same way, but internally, not externally. I hope you learned something, and if there's anything that I missed, please leave it in the comments down below. If there's something that you would like to see, please let me know as well. Until next time, take care.